Welcome back to the Caregiver Minute, where every weekday family and professional caregivers gather to refine their skills, gain inspiration, and prepare to serve. About 12 years ago, I was contacted by a family who wanted to move their mother, a woman named Teresa, into the memory care community I was running. As I got to know about her situation, I found that it was terribly tragic. She'd been living at home up until about a month before, and symptoms of Lewy body dementia had progressed very rapidly. She was having vivid visual hallucinations, her cognitive ability fluctuated, and sometimes the family found it almost impossible to communicate with her. When she was much younger, her family had emigrated from Germany. She had learned English and mastered it, and she had raised the children speaking English. They didn't speak German. But as her dementia progressed, Teresa started speaking mostly in German, and the kids didn't even know how to interact with her. She still had moments where English would come out, and things were reasonably okay, but she couldn't live alone. Teresa definitely needed memory care. We moved her into our community, and things were okay for a couple of days. And then it was like the wheels fell off the bus. Things got really difficult really fast. Teresa almost never spoke English, and she would sometimes get really angry, to the point that she would grab things and try to smash them. The one saving grace was the fact that for some reason she thought I was her husband. I must have looked like he did when he was younger. When I was in her presence, she would calm down, and she would smile, and she would hold my hand, and she would stroke it lovingly, and I didn't even have to say anything. One night, after going home and having dinner with my family, the phone rang, and the staff was really frustrated. They said, "We are so stuck with Teresa. She's just grabbing things off of furniture and throwing it on the ground and stomping on it. She's clearly angry. We've tried to Google various German words, and we've done our best to try to communicate with her, and we are just not getting through. We don't know what to do." Well, I drove back down to the facility that night, and when I walked in the room, she looked angry from a distance. As I approached, she started to calm down, and she reached out, and she took my hand, and she started stroking it. And I escorted her to her room, and she lay down in her bed. And I just sat next to her, and I held her hand. There was nothing I could say. I didn't know any German words except a few musical terms. But I just sat there and held her hand, and she started to drift off to sleep. At one point, I tried to take my hand out of hers and slip out of the room so I could go back home to my own family. And she almost immediately woke up and was in distress. So I sat back down, and I held her hand until she was in a deeper state of sleep. Sometimes when a person is in distress, we do a lot of talking. We try to talk them off the ledge and try to convince them that everything's going to be fine. In this moment with Teresa, I was spared making that mistake because she was speaking German and I didn't know any German. And so I did what ultimately would have been the most important thing anyway. I was just present with her. I just sat with her. I provided comfort. I went through a tough moment with her instead of trying to pull her out of it with all the things that I was saying. Unfortunately, most of the people that we serve speak our language, and so it's easy to slip into just talking, and trying to pull them out of the moment with the words that we're saying. Sometimes I think we could take a lesson from this experience with Teresa, and we can just sit in the moment, be with the person, and that might be all that they need. I hope that's helpful to you, especially the next time you're serving someone in distress. And I look forward to seeing you again soon for another episode of the Caregiver Minute.